Peace. So I watched the documentary on the Notorious B.I.G. I Got a Story to Tell. Came out on Netflix this week, and overall, it was a pretty solid documentary. Wasn't too many things that I didn't know already. I thought it was really cool because it really showed a little bit more about like the streets where he was from and some of his friends. I think his friend O, who they talked about in there, who I didn't know about him, which was like his best friend. I just always heard about like D Rock and Chico, but I didn't hear about O. So they talked about O, which is good. They also talked about when he was growing up, there was a jazz saxophonist in his neighborhood, actually his neighbor, that took him under his wing and basically opened him up to the arts, took him to art museums, exposed him to different types of music, jazz music and things of that sort. And based on how Biggie rapped, this is where he got his sense of rhythm from as far as his style, his flow, his cadence. Of course, he was influenced by Big Daddy Kane and other rappers, but really his sense of rhythm came from this jazz musician, which was amazing to know. There was a podcast where this man actually spoke one time about doing that, about taking him under his wing. So if you wonder what made him so amazing and how, it was probably the influence of this jazz musician that really gave him that sense of rhythm. On top of something else they talked about was him going every summer to Jamaica to visit his grandmother because his mother was from Jamaica. So it was just really cool to see that, man, that, he was under the tutelage of this man and also his uncle in Jamaica who made music and was like a DJ and produced music. So these guys were like major influences on the Notorious B.I.G. He didn't grow up with his father, and they talked about what, they gave the full story about his mom and dad's relationship. And so Biggie never knew his dad. The only thing he had was his mom's, literally. When he was in the United States, all he had was his mom and his friends. So very interesting. Real sad story, man. Just sad that his life was cut short so early. But it's crazy that between at least 91 to 90, he passed away 97. Like, he pretty much just like Tupac, man, lived like a full life. It seemed like, man, they just experienced so much. Actually, by the time he became a teenager until he died, he lived a full life, experiencing, going through the whole crack era, surviving through that, making it out of that, becoming a superstar in terms of rap music and things like that, going on tours, going all over the country and performing, man. So it was cool to see. Always also good to see like everybody telling their stories and their memories about Biggie. One thing that was a little interesting though was Puffy was making it seem like Biggie wanted to go to California, and maybe he was telling Puffy that he did to go smooth things out, even though it probably wasn't the best time and it was a dangerous time for him to go over there. However, his mother said he told his mom that, he told his mother that he had to go, almost as if he was told he needed to go. And I honestly think that he was told to go so he can promote the album. And the way he was over there, he seemed pretty relaxed. Like nothing was, there was no issues. And I think a lot of people didn't like what he was saying, man, because, he made it seem like, Tupac was just, and he was right to some degree that Tupac was just tripping, basically. He didn't say Tupac was tripping, but he was just like, people got stories mixed up and they're not telling the truth, about what happened. And that was true. People weren't telling the truth about what happened. But one thing about it, man, Bad Boy Records did promote that East Coast, West Coast beef, man. They were definitely shouting out East Coast in the house. Even on mixtapes and stuff, making fun of Tupac and all that stuff. So they added fire to the flame. So I don't know why they're acting like they were innocent in this whole thing. Plus, on the last album, the Notorious B.I.G. disses Tupac after he's dead. So he had a whole song about him, Long Kiss Goodnight and a bunch of other stuff, man. A lot of innuendos geared at Tupac. So I think, of course, they're going to make it seem like everything was, they're not going to talk about all, we're getting heavy into that stuff, but that stuff did play a part in Biggie's death. And I think that they should mention that at least, that, yeah, man, we didn't come out formally and was dissing and all that stuff, but we did say some things and we added flames. But they're not going to get into all that, of course, because Puffy's kind of behind the documentary as well. So he's not going to, of course, air himself out his own dirt. But overall, good documentary, worth the watching, especially if you aren't aware of who Notorious B.I.G. is, or aware of his music or what his life was about. Really good, well put together doc. A lot of good clips. It was good that D-Rock had videotaped a lot of things on camera, especially them on tour and stuff like that. So, peace.